Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Hope you and your families are all staying safe, healthy, and sane out there. I want to welcome and thank you all for attending Cloudpoint Geographics webinar on an introduction to Parcel Fabric in ArcGIS Pro. My name is Bill Steele. I handle the business development and marketing for Cloudpoint. Matthew Junker, one of our GIS professionals at Cloudpoint, is going to walk us through some of the tools and workflows in Pro for Parcel Fabric. We are working hard to continually bring you more content and webinars. In the next couple of weeks, we'll have reprisals of our webinars on ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS Enterprise. And then in June, we'll have webinars on the use of GIS for cemeteries and our indoor mapping solutions webinar. So be on the lookout for those invites and make sure and spread the word if there's anyone you know that might benefit from these opportunities. And of course, visit cloudpointgeo.com/webinars to register for those. Also of note, tomorrow registration is closed, but tomorrow is our Public Works GIS Solutions virtual showcase event. It's a live virtual event dedicated to public works. So depending on how that goes, we will try to plan and do these more in person as the year goes along, but we also look at doing more of these virtually. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow. So keep your eye out and be on the lookout for that as well. So just a quick note. Sorry, I skipped a part here. Just a quick note, let you guys know we will be doing question and answer as always. So the little question and answer box down at the bottom there, if you just hit that little box, little pop-up will get in there. You type your questions anytime during the presentation. We'll be answering them at the end of the presentation, but you can submit those at any time. And don't worry, they will be anonymous. I'm not going to read your name out there or anything. And then if you have any technical difficulties with our presentation, I'll be keeping my eye on it, but you can also shoot me a message in the chat room there. So most of you are familiar with this, but just to fill you in, we work in a lot of sectors: public works, facilities, land records, utilities, transportation, engineering, even cemeteries. And as a trusted Esri business partner, we help people drive intelligent decision-making using mapping technology. And one of our solutions is the use of Parcel Fabric, an efficient answer that can help with your management of land records and help save your organization time and money. Fireworks. And here to tell us more about that is Matt. Take it away, Matt.
I'm going to share my screen. Okay, thank you for joining us today for the introduction to Parcel Fabric in ArcGIS Pro. Today we will learn about how to get started with the transition to land records management in ArcGIS Pro. ArcGIS Pro is Esri's latest desktop GIS application, and many GIS users have started the transition from ArcMap to Pro. Are you one of those users? For myself, it took me a while to become a regular user, but now I use Pro more than I use ArcMap. Esri's lifecycle plan states that ArcGIS Desktop 10.8, which includes ArcMap, is set to be retired by March of 2026, so you have a few years to make the transition. As for the Parcel Fabric, there are two transition workflows I will discuss today: upgrading an ArcMap Parcel Fabric to Pro, and migrating non-Parcel Fabric data to an ArcGIS Pro Parcel Fabric. Whether you currently maintain your parcels in an ArcMap Parcel Fabric or are looking to jump right into an ArcGIS Pro Parcel Fabric, I hope to provide you with some insight on getting off on the right foot in ArcGIS Pro. There are some key differences between an ArcMap Parcel Fabric and an ArcGIS Pro Parcel Fabric. One difference is with the data model schema. In ArcMap, shown on the left, all polygon features reside in the same feature class, symbolized by a parcel type attribute related to point and line features and a table for plans. In ArcGIS Pro, shown on the right, each parcel type in the Parcel Fabric has separate feature classes for polygons and lines, and are managed through records, which replaces the plans table and is now a Polygon feature class. I attended the Esri Users Conference last year, went to many Parcel Fabric presentations, and talked with Esri staff about the Pro Parcel Fabric. And a common phrase I heard during that week was record-driven workflow. I hope to introduce you today to records and prepare you for when you transition to land records management in ArcGIS Pro. Okay, I'm going to switch my screen. Okay, the first transition workflow on the docket is upgrading an ArcMap Parcel Fabric. We start by opening a project in ArcGIS Pro. In this particular project, I have a map tab in which I've added the source data from my ArcMap Parcel Fabric. I must note that the ArcMap Parcel Fabric can be viewed in ArcGIS Pro, but not edited. Also, adding the source data here in this project is optional, but I thought I would take advantage of the ability and convenience to have multiple maps in an ArcGIS Pro project. In the catalog pane on the right is where we can create a parcel editing data set in our project geodatabase, in which I've already done that ahead of time. Here's where you'll give your data set a name and choose the correct coordinate system. The next step is to run the Upgrade ArcMap Parcel Fabric tool. The parameters for this tool are choosing the ArcMap Parcel Fabric from the dropdown, which is now easily accessible because I've added that to a map tab in the project. The newly created target feature data set, and a name for the upgraded parcel fabric. Then click run, but I'm not going to click run here because in this case, I've done that ahead of time. With this particular parcel fabric, there are over 56,000 tax parcels, plus other layers such as lots, subdivisions, cadastral framework. And it took nearly an hour for this tool to run to upgrade the ArcMap Parcel Fabric. So just keep that in mind. So the next step is to add the upgraded Parcel Fabric to a new map. So back in Catalog, we can expand our data set and it shows us our Parcel Fabric with all of the feature classes and relationship classes. So we would right-click on that fabric and add it to a current map or a new map. So back in our map tab for the upgraded Pro Parcel Fabric, let's take a look at how the layers in this parcel fabric are structured. Layers are grouped together by parcel type with polygon and line feature classes. For example, in the tax parcels feature class, we look at the attribute table, we can see attributes that were transferred over from the ArcMap Parcel Fabric. Also, there is a tax lines feature class. We look at the attributes. Here's where we can see our direction and distance, the characteristics of the lines that make up the parcel fabric. I also would like to show you the records feature class and the attributes. So in that transition process, the records feature class was created with the subdivision names and then also an attribute for how many parcels are associated with each record. Something new you may notice in ArcGIS Pro up here in the upper left corner of the map is a tool called the heads-up display. This tool allows the user to manage or create parcel records. I'll click the gear icon and click on Manage Records. Here you can search by name, or you can search all records in the map extent, all selected records, records created in the last week or last month, or some other type of query. For this example, I'm going to type in the name of a subdivision. And it comes up with my search result of Norwood Heights. When I right click on that search result, I can then zoom to the record. Also, when I right click, I can I can set as the active record. And then our heads up display, that changes the active record to the name of the subdivision. Additionally, when I right click, I can select all features associated with that record. This includes any parcel type that you have, whether it's a tax parcel, lot, or any other associated parcel type that you have created. Our next example, the second transition workflow, is migrating non-Parcel Fabric data to an ArcGIS Pro Parcel Fabric. Again, we start out with a Pro project. And again, I have a map tab showing my source data that is non-Parcel Fabric parcel data. In this case, I have parcels, subdivisions, political townships, sections. Again, having the source data here is optional, but there are advantages to having multiple maps in your Pro project. Going again to the catalog pane, we see our project geodatabase along with the featured data set for parcel editing. Again, you choose the name and the correct coordinate system. The next step is to create a parcel fabric. This is a Pro Parcel Fabric. So the parameters for this tool, you choose the target feature data set and you give your parcel fabric a name. Going back to the catalog pane, the next step here is to add parcel types. So I will expand the data set, right click on my parcel fabric, go to manage, and add parcel type. Your parcel fabric is already input as one of the parameters. You just need to give your parcel type a name. This can be done for all of your parcel types that you want to migrate over. This can also be done from the geoprocessing pane with the Add Parcel Type tool. So I have added parcel types ahead of time for tax parcels, political townships, and sections. Additionally, this is where you have the opportunity to add other fields or domains to the layers in your parcel fabric. You can do that by right-clicking on a feature class and going to the Design context menu, where you can then set up your domains. You can add in additional fields, subtypes, attribute rules, and contingent values. So we've done a lot of this in the catalog and geoprocessing panes, and now we will add our empty parcel fabric to a new map tab. So again, very simple, just right click on your fabric, add to a current map or a new map. So I'm going to switch over to my map tab that has the migrated parcel fabric. So again, we go to the geoprocessing pane. Ideally, you have this as your empty parcel fabric, so you need to get your source data into the parcel fabric. You do that by using the append tool. You can input your data set, choose your target data set, and you set the schema type. So if your source data matches your target data as far as the schema goes, then you can choose this option. But if not, you will need to use the field map to reconcile schema differences. And that is where you can set up which fields are associated with your target fields. Again, I've done this ahead of time, so that has already been accomplished for this particular parcel fabric. But I also must let you know that I have performed a spatial join between the source parcel data and the source subdivision data ahead of time to get a record field or the subdivision name associated with the parcel data. That join layer was used in the append operation. If your source parcel data already has a field referencing the subdivision or record, then please disregard that step. So we go back to our catalog pane. The next step you'll need to do is to enable parcel topology. This again is done via the Manage Context menu. Right-click on the parcel fabric, go to the Manage menu, and you have the option to enable, or in this case, disable parcel topology. So parcel topology has been enabled. And the next step is to create parcel records. And we switch to geoprocessing. We have a Create Parcel Records tool. Here's where you enter in the parcel features as the parameter, and then you set the record field. In my example, I have chosen my parcel feature class, and my record field was what came across from my spatial join with the subdivision layer. So that subdivision name will be my record field. And again, this process takes quite a bit of time, more than we have for this demonstration. So I have done that ahead of time. In my example, I have added a singular record or subdivision here in this example. And we go back to our heads up display where we click on our menu. We have the option here to create a record, where you can enter in the attributes for that, or we can manage records. So instead of doing a search here, I'm going to click on all records in map extent. That brings up my record name, Devonshire Estates, 4th edition. And from here, again, you can set as the active record. That changes it in the heads up display. And select all of the features that are associated with that record. And I can open up the attribute table for records and show the same attributes we saw in the side panel. Okay, a few other things that I wanted to touch on is that one is that the parcel fabric in ArcGIS Pro requires either a standard or advanced license level. There are two different types of deployments: enterprise deployment and single user deployment. Enterprise deployment will be for multi-user editing. Single user, of course, if you just have one editor. The enterprise deployment requires an enterprise database, ArcGIS Enterprise 10.7.1 and Pro 2.4, or Enterprise 10.8 and Pro 2.5. For the single user, it requires a file geodatabase and Pro version 2.4 or later. And if you are interested in learning more about the Parcel Fabric and ArcGIS Pro, we do have a land records kickstart. Okay, back to you, Bill.
Perfect. That was great, Matt. Thank you very much. We've got a couple questions here, so let's dive into those. And guys, go ahead and keep submitting those questions as they come up. First one here, can you explain the added cost to license the Parcel Fabric in Pro? Esri says you now need some kind of special user type.
Yes, there is a new user type. I'm learning more about that each day. But there is a special user type now, and I believe it is for the enterprise deployment and for 10.8 and above. But I don't have a cost associated with that at this time.
Okay. Perfect. Let's see, another one here. Is the heads-up display always on, or does it have to be activated?
That's a good question. I believe the heads-up display will pop up when there is a Parcel Fabric in the map. So if I switch to my my source data map, so this is not non-Parcel Fabric data. We do not have a heads-up display. In the map that has the Pro Parcel Fabric in it, that display will pop up.
All right. Let's see, another one in here. What are the benefits to using a Parcel Fabric over traditional methods?
Using a Parcel Fabric allows your data to be connected, to be topologically correct, and also when we're talking with an ArcGIS Pro Fabric, that gives you the ability, if you have an enterprise deployment, to share services, share the data as web services, edit data across multiple platforms, and view data across multiple platforms. So there are definitely advantages to using the Parcel Fabric. There's a lot of efficient workflows and methods. And another thing with Pro is that the editing tools are using the native editing tools. So there's not a special toolbar like in ArcMap. So it's all native editing, kind of more of a seamless transition.
All right, another good one here. I have not installed ArcGIS Pro. How do I know if my computer can run it before I transition from ArcMap?
Okay, so on the ArcGIS Pro System Requirements webpage, you have the ability to check your system to see if you're ready to run Pro. There's a tool you can click on. It's called Can You Run It? And it produces a report detailing how your system settings, such as CPU speed, RAM, storage, display properties, stack up against minimum, recommended, and optimal requirements. So for example, recommended requirements for ArcGIS Pro version 2.5 are quad-core CPU, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 4 gigabytes of dedicated video RAM, Windows 64-bit, 8.1 or 10, Windows Server 64-bit, 2012 and above, 32 gigabytes of free disk space, and .NET version 4.8. So I have a Dell G3 laptop, and my laptop meets all of the recommended requirements.
Okay, Good, good. Let's see, another one popped in here. Is there a predefined or recommended schema?
Let's see. I believe with the Pro Parcel Fabric, there is a predefined schema that if we look at it in catalog, so the schema in catalog for the Parcel Fabric, you have multiple feature classes. Each parcel type will have a polygon and line feature class associated with it. And then everything is related to the record. So the record is the kind of the main piece here. It's as Esri has stated, it's a record-driven workflow. So everything is related to that record. I hope that answers the question.
Sounds good. Well, looks like that's all we have today. If any questions remain, we'll get to those individually after, but I will go ahead and share over you, Matt. Got some contact here for you guys. So again, thank you so much for attending this webinar today. You can find more information at cloudpointgeo.com/parcelfabric. You can also always get in touch with us directly. My email, bsteele@cloudpointgeo.com. Phone number 217-691-9677. Of course, we're all over social media, so you can find us out there as well. And again, keep on the lookout for more webinars. And as soon as we're done here, I'll try to get the recording up on our recordings page. That's cloudpointgeo.com/recordings. So hopefully that should be ready this afternoon. But again, thank you all for attending, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.